Good evening. This is May 8th. This is the open.
This conference will now be recorded.
Auburn Board of Health, which is being operated as in hybrid format under Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join this meeting remotely by telephone, area code 224-501-3412, and access code 236-529-341. Or the public can join via computer at the link provided on the agenda on the website. All supporting materials have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. As a preliminary matter, my name is Eric Otterson, Chairman of the Board of Health. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda participating remotely are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lindsay Guitar.
Here.
Carolyn Griffin.
Here.
Excellent. And town officials and employees participating, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Jordan Brusso.
Here.
Darlene Coyle.
Here.
And Paula Conway.
Here.
Please note that each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Please also note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. And I do understand that we do have a caller calling into this meeting this evening. The caller who is online, can you please state your name and address?
Yes, Cynthia Kelson at 101 Elmwood Street in Auburn.
Excellent. Thank you very much and welcome to the meeting. Meeting
Thank you.
is now open. And we will add or remove any agenda items. I don't believe so. Just see this here. And we will move the approval of the minutes from 3/9 of 2023.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from March 9th, 2023. All those in favor? Present.
Yeah, so that's the motion.
Yes.
Is there a second? I will second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye, and Lindsay Guitar,
I abstain.
abstain because you weren't. Yeah, motion passes. Meeting minutes are approved.
Thank you.
Next, we have a agenda item of 6 o'clock. We're a little bit delayed on this due to some technical difficulties. However, it is a hearing for unfit for human habitation, 101 Elmwood Street. Can I have a motion to open the hearing?
I'd like to make a motion to open the hearing for the unfit for human habitation of 101 Elmwood Street, Long Mass.
Is there a second?
I second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Lindsay Guitar,
Aye.
Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. The hearing is now open. Ms. Coyle.
Thank you. Back in the beginning of February, we had a very frigid, extreme temperature swing that brought some temperatures in the negative numbers. I think it ranged from about 10 below to 20 below. And during that time, the Board of Health was contacted for an emergency by the Auburn Police Department, Fire Department, and myself and the building inspector responded to 101 Elmwood Street. The situation was that there was a water pipe break, and the water pipe was so that it was on the second floor. That pipe broke and caused running water to come from the second floor into the first floor, the main living area, and then proceeded down into the basement. So it was actually 3 floors. That occurred on between February 4th and February 5th. And the emergency responders did respond for an emergency call. Once they realized that the scope of the situation, they contacted DDIS, Inspectional Services and Development. When I did arrive on scene, I was briefed by the captain, and he explained that the water had been shut off to prevent any more water that was flowing through the dwelling and actually coming outside the dwelling. And there was concern for the water going into the basement, which was very close to the electrical panel. So the electricity had to be looked at. The building inspector contacted the wiring inspector, and a call was made to disconnect the electricity to the dwelling. Without water and without electricity, the house was not able to sustain heat. So those three major components caused the situation for 2 occupants inside the dwelling. The occupants did speak with emergency responders, and they assessed the situation. They were actually transported to the hospital, and the building inspector and myself did look at what had happened. There's actually some pictures from that inspection, which I can give to you now. You'll be able to go through and see the main areas that were affected started from the upstairs bedroom where the water pipe broke. What you're looking at there is the dining room, causing the water-soaked ceiling and sheetrock to fall down onto the floor. Walls became water-soaked and went all over all of the belongings inside, the furniture, the floors, the walls. That's actually a picture of the water draining through the insulation into the basement near the electrical panel. So that situation resulted in determination that the dwelling was going to be unfit for human habitation. The building inspector and I both agreed that there was cause for concern for anybody that would be in that property, and because no heat, no electricity, no water, determination was made to do that. That situation happened over the weekend, as you may recall. Extreme temps. The occupants were transported, so they were going to be in a safe place, being cared for outside of the dwelling. And an additional piece of that, there were detectors, smoke and carbon monoxide detectors that were not properly working inside the dwelling. So the order that you have dated February 8th, that's actually when we sent out the order. The situation did happen over the weekend, and it was identified as February 4th. I think it actually, the inspection happened on the 5th. So I just want to clarify that. The order and the property was posted on the same day, on the 8th. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any board members have any questions for Mr. Quayle?
So, so that unfit for human habitation is from that day now going forward?
So that was the determination made at that time. Since that time, there have been a number of improvements and developments. However, what is before the board is to prove or deny the fact that we had the right to call that unfit human habitation.
At that time.
Yes.
Oh, I understand. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Any further questions for Ms. Quayle? No? Ms. Kelson, are you're
Yes.
You've heard Ms. Coyle, who's the director of the DDIS report.
Yes.
Do you have anything you'd like to add or say?
Sure. I know that there's been, since then, I don't know of the last time the building inspector was in. But ServPro or Service Master has torn down everything that was wet damage right down to the plywood floor in both the dining room and foyer. All the china and everything that was in that room is boxed up, waiting to get put out into some type of pod. The living room has been completely boxed up, just waiting again for a pod to put the couch and entertainment center in. So that was all done. I know there was a concern about there was some trash in the garage that had to be taken. That's since been done. We're having trouble with Liberty getting a scope of work, and my contractor, they're saying they won't do a scope of work. But the electrical and plumbing, the plumbing was done right away. I know the electrician cleared the circuit breaker panel, which was under that room, and the smoke detectors. I did, in fact, have working smoke and carbon monoxide detectors that I just bought like a year and a half ago, but they weren't hung up because I couldn't reach high enough to do it. So that's my fault. I did have them. I spent a lot of money on them, but I know since the fire marshal has been out there with the electrician and certified that. Right now, we're waiting to have the wall and the ceiling of the dining room done. And then they're going to redo hardwoods brand new in the dining room and the foyer and hallway. And then the living room, they have to refinish the hardwood floors there to match the others to make sure it looks like it's one continuous piece because it was before. So I've, followed it the best that I can. I've never been through an experience like this before, and with all the medical issues that I'm dealing with right now, I'm still in a wheelchair. I'm not going to be able to walk. And my 85-year-old mom is down in Georgia. She's been there for 3 months, and she wants to be home in her own bed. And I keep trying to move this along, and I keep getting pushed from insurance to contractor to this to that. So I'm having a lot of difficulty doing that. I'm doing the best I can. But Darlene, did they call you at 5:30 in your office? Liberty?
I have not spoken with Liberty, but I do believe
Okay.
that they did call.
Okay, she said she was going to call you and just give you a brief, overview of what's going on. The contractor that's been there, who I guess knows the building inspector, he's been there to kind of hover and supervise things, but he just gave an estimate of $42,000. And I left a message for Liberty on Friday. She called me back and she said that's insane. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle here. Liberty just told me a half hour ago that we're going to get other bids on it. And I need it done. I don't know how long it takes to do floors, but what else do you guys require for my mother and I to get back in there?
So, Ms. Kelson, the purpose of the hearing tonight is not to, I'll let you and Ms. Coyle go through and determine what exactly you need to do to get in to your home. The purpose of this evening is only to go back in time and whether or not we feel to sustain the recommendation of Ms. Coyle that the home on that date and time was unfit for habitation. So
I agree.
We're not going to make a decision this evening on whether or not you can get in tonight. That is going to be worked with yourself and Darlene and the rest of the members of her workforce and not involve us as the board. Does that make sense?
Okay.
All right.
It does. Like I said, I've never been through this process, and I'm trusting you guys to guide me, and I want to do whatever you tell me I need to do is done. But
Exactly.
my mom at 85, my biggest fear right now is, God forbid, something happens down there and I'm not going to be able to see her. And that's why she needs to be home. So whatever I have to do, I will do.
Exactly, and I appreciate that, and I know from working with the members of the Department of Inspectional Services here, and particularly the Board of Health folks, they will do everything in their power to get you in that home when it is right and safe to do so, and to work with you for that. So rest assured that that's going to be the case. You will be getting back into your home. We just have to make sure it's safe for you and your 85-year-old grandmother to do that. Do you
My
have
mom.
anything else to say in regards to back in February, concerns that you had? Did that kind of explain the process to you a little better?
Yeah, it does. And by the way, my mom has a stair chair to get her up and downstairs, so she is safe doing that.
Excellent.
Just to add that.
So, okay. All right. Do we have any more photos or?
Yes, if I could just add, so I have, been speaking with Ms. Kelson, and, obviously we will work with her. The building inspector and I have been out, actually, on March 8th. So, approximately about a month after, this happened, Gary Allard and myself went out to the property, to get a status of where they were at. And the pictures there kind of give you a sense of what was going on. That right there is the second floor where the water pipe broke, and that's the repaired water pipe. So once that got repaired, then the remediation, that's dehumidifiers into the basement. They got the water out of there. And a lot of progress forward. So Ms. Kelson definitely has been working with the department. She recently sent, about a week or so ago, she sent her own photos. I have not been in the property since March 8th, but she has sent some photos of some progress as well. So I know that she's working towards having some family and friends help her with that. And ultimately her working with the contractors, with the permits and the licensed professionals to get in there to take now, the property, now that the water damage has been removed, now it's about putting the property back together and making sure,
Correct.
he has the means to do that.
Excellent.
Correct. And at this point, we are, apparently Liberty has said, based on the email I got from the contractor's wife, that they don't write up estimates to submit to insurance companies, which I certainly don't understand because that's why they have a job. So the insurance company, Liberty, has said that they want to get bids from other contractors because $42,000 is obscene, was what they told me last Thursday, I think. And they're not going to pay that, Liberty. So I guess at this point, we're going to have other contractors bid to see who can get in there the quickest and get this done.
Excellent. All right. Any board members have questions for Ms. Kelson?
No.
Okay. Is there any motion in regards to the order that was done back in February?
I'd like to make a motion to approve that the home was at 101 Elmwood Street was unfit for human habitation at that time of February 8th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Lindsay Guitar,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
and Eric Arson, aye. Motion passes.
Was there?
Does that mean you're removing the red sticker from the door or not yet?
No, remember, this was only to review whether or not at that time back in February,
Yeah.
Ms. Coyle had the ability and her assessment was correct that the property
Yeah.
was unfit for human habitation at that time. The board,
I agree.
the board just approved and sustained that she made the correct determination, and it sounds like you did as well, that the home was unfit for habitation. So that order is in effect until such time that you work with Ms. Coyle and the rest of the folks from the office to be able to move in.
So now we have to work with Darlene, we've talked before, and you have to give approval for us to move back in, is that right? to take that thing that you just all approved for from back in February, which I agree with, you have to go in and deem it habitable for us, and basically the floors are going to be most likely the biggest piece of that, as well as the wall and ceiling of the dining room. Are those the criteria pretty much that you're looking at?
So Ms. Kelson, from this point forward, just as we have, I will continue to work with you, and the building department and the Board of Health works together to make sure that the progress that you're making is working towards getting back into the home, which I know since that call was made for the property, now you've already had the water remediation professionals in there. They've done what they needed to do with a permit. The next step is to make sure that I believe it's the building contractor is going to go and apply for the permits. Your professionals will provide the plans to the building department as to what they're going to be doing. You have to put your walls back together, the floors, the ceiling. Remember the obviously impacted areas for all that water damage, so you don't have any walls, ceiling in that dining room. The floors had to.
Well, we have two walls, just the one that came down, and the ceiling.
Yep.
Just the one wall that came down.
Yep. So the water damaged areas are going to be put back together, and that is what it sounds like you're already speaking with a contractor. I know when we spoke on Friday, you had identified that you're working through that piece with the insurance company. And so getting a building permit for the repairs to put that back together, and just making sure that the repairs get made, they get signed off, and then I would coordinate with the building inspector to go back in to do a re-inspection once everything's done. So
what is the length of time to get a permit? Because I understood it's like more than 2 weeks. Is that correct?
yeah, I think when we spoke on Friday, I did check, and I don't see that a permit has been applied for as of yet. But once that permit does get applied for, feel free to reach out to me, and I can check on the status. Typically, it's a 2-week review by our department, but certainly let me know when that gets applied for. I know that the electrical inspector had already done his review, and that was all set. I know the plumbing work was done. One thing, I think that the plumbing permit, I think we need a sign off for that, so we're checking on that. But I know that I see that the work has been done. So
Yeah, it was Steve Collins who did that, and I can give you his number if you'd like it.
sure. I mean, you can. I'm sure.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
Yep.
fine.
So
Okay.
we'll continue to work together to move you forward.
So the big thing now is determining what contractor is going to be doing this work, because the one who's been in there just came up with an obscene amount that Liberty's not going to pay. So now I think I'm back to having a couple of contractors go in to bid on it, and it's the person who gets the bid who applies for the permit, right? It has to be that contractor that applies for it?
I would have you speak with the building department about any questions regarding the building permit process.
Okay.
Certainly you can have them call our office, and our clerks can advise on what's needed to apply, but I wouldn't want to give you the wrong information here. But certainly, it's always a good idea to get, multiple quotes, just to make sure that you're comfortable with who you're moving forward with.
Okay, and they were going to get back to me, Liberty, tomorrow with that.
Okay, and with that being said, that you guys will work towards getting her back into the home and completing what needs to happen. Is there any motion to close the hearing?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Is there a second?
I second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Lindsay Guitar,
Aye.
Carol Griffin,
Aye.
Eric Odison, aye. The hearing is now closed. Thank you very much, Ms. Kelson.
Good luck.
Thank you for your help. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, Darlene.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Cindy.
I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And next is the COVID update.
So I just wanted to, I know, you've probably seen this, but they did have a announcement through Mass Department of Public Health about the public health emergency, all those things that we've had in place for, several years now.
Yeah.
We're over the 3-year mark, have now are going to end on May 11th, 2023. So the state and the federal government is aligning those dates. So I just wanted to kind of bring that to, I think it's worthwhile mentioning just because we've been through quite a lot the past several years, and the staff, nobody's ever experienced this before, and certainly we have not. We didn't know what to expect, but we made the best of it.
occasion, that's for sure.
So there's been a lot of emergency preparedness training over the years, and I think that we were able to, do as much as we could with the vaccine that we were provided. So just wanted to thank the board for their support and my staff.
Yeah, thank you guys for your hard work, my goodness, just that unprecedented.
And like I said, very few people have seen the behind the scenes work that yourselves
Yeah.
had done with the contact tracing and all the extraneous regulations and tasks that were put onto your department, all with little to no support, and especially with no pay. It was just assumed as part of your job, which that has a lot to be said for each one of your individual character, work ethic, and dedication to this town that's resident. So I could not be more thankful for the guidance, the expertise that you had, going forward with that. So I would certainly thank you all for all the hard work that you did during that time. So
Thank you very much. We couldn't have done it without all the support here in town, and certainly board was there to help, like literally in the COVID clinics that we did, the fire department, the school nurses. I mean, there was a lot of volunteers that made it happen. So just wanted to thank you.
excellent. Sharp program.
Oh, so some great news. We are all excited about this. So tonight, there will be an announcement at the selectmen's meeting, and I wanted to let you know as well. So the town was able to purchase it's a remediator. So basically, it takes sharps. It takes needles inside a container. It takes any sort of like biomedical gauze, anything like that may come off the ambulance. And this unit is, we're calling it a fancy trash can per se, but the fancy name for it is a remediator of medical waste. And this piece of equipment was purchased with some grant money. It's housed at the fire station. It was delivered within the past 2 weeks, and we were fortunate enough. Oh, awesome!
I have some
Yay.
pictures of it because it
Beautiful.
was like a big washing machine.
It does.
And so you put all the sharps and spools in the bottom and the top, and that's what it comes out as the
Oh,
top.
wow.
Yes. it's
Sterilized,
amazing.
clean.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
So it autoclaves all of the waste so that it takes out any hazard. And then there's a cruncher, like a grinder, that grinds it all up so that it becomes regular trash at the end of it. And because our trash is incinerated at the Whale-A-Brator, there's not a concern for the microplastics, going in, being left, because it all gets incinerated. So pretty exciting. We have had to put the SHARPS program on a delay for over a year because we weren't able to house it in one of the pharmacies in town any longer. So we were trying to find a way to restart that and keep it going. This allows us to actually keep it in-house, so we don't have to rely on any other agencies. We can actually do it ourselves. So we're pretty excited. We're thrilled to be partnered with the fire department, and there's minimal costs on the supplies, but we're gonna try to work together to try to figure out how we can buy the bags. You need definitely biohazard bags, distilled water. There's certain things that we have to do monthly for maintenance, but we'll kind of roll out a flyer similar to this probably sometime this week. So I just wanted to let you know.
Oh, that's
We're
good.
over the top.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I see a flyer here for yard waste collection. It looks like it's gonna be run from April 24th all the way through May 26th. On the curbside collection, on your regular day, there is, there is some stuff in regards to that the bags and containers must weigh less than 50 pounds. Twigs and branches can't be greater than 3 feet in length, and diameter can't be more than 3 inches. No plastic ties or tape, and please do not use the carts that the town gave you for your trash and recycling. These have to be in bags or separate waste containers.
Thank you very much.
And then the last one was the townwide cleanup. I was down there last Saturday. It looked like it was a good turnout, and I took advantage of it myself.
It was amazing. It was probably the biggest turnout that we've had so far. Close to 150 volunteers. The weather was perfect, and we had a lot of support. We're working on getting the totals right now, but I know at least we had about 20, 25, 26 mattresses got recycled. We had a whole half a pallet of batteries. We had over 45 tires. And then the paper shredding was a huge hit. Bank Hometown sponsored that. It was just a great day. So I want to thank everybody for coming out, and definitely we had some really hard areas that were full of trash that people were out picking up trash. So thank you, everybody.
CMMCP.
So I just wanted to let you know, Central Mass Mosquito Control Project, they do our spraying, and they started this time of year for preventative maintenance, but they're also the ones that take the tires. They take the tires because the water that collects in the tires can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes, and they couldn't have been more helpful. Not only did they do their tires, but they helped with the bags, everything coming in. So just wanted to let you know.
And last, is there any review of communicable diseases that?
Yes. This, down.
If we don't have it, we can just defer it till next week as well.
Yeah. Here it is. Sorry about that.
Board members have any questions?
Nope.
No? All right. Hearing and seeing none, I move for a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn today's meeting of May 8th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I second.
And all those in all those in favor signify by saying aye. Lindsay Guitar,
Aye.
Carol Griffin,
Aye.
Eric Austin, aye. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.